So let's 5. And once again, hey, get your calculators out. You're going to need them unless you've memorized trig functions in your head, and nobody does that. So get your calculators out. If you don't have a calculator here, you need to sheepishly raise your hand and tell me that you don't have a calculator here, and I will... Oh, thank you. What you got for collateral, Aaron? Aaron. Emily? For now, for the lesson, what you got for collateral? Yeah. Anyone else not have a calculator? Oh, she has a password on here. I'm going to power it off. Slide to power off. You can be out of touch with people for 30 minutes. My mom says I'm out of touch all the time. Oh, okay. Boston, you're good? Then shut up. Here we go. Again, in theory, Alex, you saw a lot of this last year in Math 10. So again, if you're finding this boring, I apologize, but I have to assume you've forgotten it all. The new stuff will start to occur next week. Trust me. Okay? We have the 3 tools of trigonometry to solve right-angled triangles. We had Pythagoras, right? We had angle sum of triangles. And we had SOHCAHTOA. We had SOHCAHTOA. And what you're going to find today, Aaron, is we're going to be looking at 2 and 3 triangle problems. Triangles inside of triangles inside of triangles. And eventually we'll show you, Joel, a quicker way to solve these, because you're going to be dealing with triangles that don't always have obvious right angles, and there are what's called the sine law and the cosine law that work for any triangle, but they're a bit complicated. So we always start out by saying, for what it's worth, if you want to, Shania, you can fall back on what you know most of the time. But you have to first of all identify the right angle. Where's the 90-degree angle? Because once you have that, then you know the hypotenuse, then you can figure out opposite and adjacent and all that. It's because the only triangles we know how to solve so far, Jordan, are right-angle triangles. There's 3 main types of 2 triangle questions. The first type is the kind that involves addition. Now, I have kind of how to solve it here, but let's see if we can, without reading all those little steps, just figure it out. First of all, Adam, what do they want you to find? Now, look up. It's important to label this clearly. I was initially just going to put an X right there, but I'm worried that I don't know whether I'm talking about that or the whole thing. So here's what I'm going to do. To show that I want the whole thing, I'm going to put a little curly bracket, X. And I left some space in case I need to fit some stuff inside there as well. Is that okay, Joe? That's what I want to find. Problem. That triangle that I just drew looks like this. Oh. That's not a right angle, is it? That's not a right angle, is it? That's not a right angle. I can't solve this as is. Can anybody tell me how I can find how long this whole thing is? And your hint is look for right angle triangles. Jeremiah is going to finish his yawn. You see it, Jeremiah, how we can find this whole length? What? Oh, so what are you saying? I can find this? Say yes. I can find this, and then what? How would I find the whole length if I know how long this is and how long this is? Yeah, you did know. I just needed to jog you that way. We're going to add them up. That's why I wrote here, this is the addition method. Some of the triangles then, it's going to be 2 separate triangles, and you want one long side. Find the 2 small sides and add them up. The 3 triangles are triangle A, B, C, That's the great big one. What's the top triangle? What? What 3 letters describe the top triangle, Matt? Triangle BDC. CR, what's the bottom triangle? But you know what? I'm going to write triangle bad just because I can. It'll be easier for me to remember, right? So to find AC, we must use the right-angled triangles. These are the top and the bottom. BDC and bad. How are we going to do this? We're going to find CD. That's this length. Adam, what letter did I call the whole length? How about I call this short little length here Y? And we're going to find, I think, DA. That's this length. Hey, what letter could I put here? Continuing on with our progression and saying it like a proud Canadian. Uh-huh. Are you ever going to forget that, Mr. Well, let's see. You're like, holy smokes, he planned this out to ask me this question? Like, yeah. I knew where I was going. Okay. It says make sure you label the different pieces you're trying to solve for. We have. Now, you can redraw all this, and I'm good with that. Matt, let's just see if we can't just label these very, 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 very carefully. Okay, let's do the top triangle first. There's my angle. This is what I want to find, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. Let's put a little tiny O right there. And I'm going to write small because I don't want to really clutter up and muck up my diagram. Will I label this? No. Why not? Don't know it. Don't need to know it. Not interested. Will I label this side? Yeah, it's a 14, but with this 52 right there, this 14, adjacent. Do you guys have the word SOHCAHTOA somewhere on your page? Yeah? Oh, okay. Which trig function? Tan? Now, I know from prior experience this is going to take some room. I'm going to do the first one up here where there's room. So I'm going to go like this. Tan. Alex, what always goes next to the trig function? What's the angle this time in the top triangle? 52. Alex equals what over what? Do I use the second function button here? No. That's to find an angle, right? Here it's going to be straight cross multiply. I think you'll get y equals 14 tan 52, and this is where you need to go to your calculators because I have no idea. Emily, make sure you get the same answer as Devin next to you because that calculator that I loaned you might be in radians. I forgot to check. The graphing ones, whenever they... Oh, no, never mind. I didn't give you a graphing one, did I? No, sorry. The graphing ones, which I sometimes hand out, whenever they reset, they automatically go to radians by default because we use radians everywhere else in math. They're handier. What do you get? And let's go to... Did it say how many decimal places to go to? Did it say to 2? No? Then when in doubt, we go to 2. Matt, what'd you get? 17.92. Anybody else? Yeah? Now, this makes me a bit nervous, Taylor, because how far from here to here? Does this look shorter or longer than this side? But what did we get? Longer. I could also say maybe it's just a lousy diagram. Let's see. If you add both those angles together, what do you get? Is that really close to 90 degrees if you add them together? Okay, if this diagram was accurate to scale, angle B would be like this big. Is it that big? Look at your You know what? I think the diagram is garbage, so I'm okay. I'm not as nervous about that 17.92. I was like, when you said 17.92, Matt, my first thought was, really? And then I looked at the angles and I went, oh, you know what? Mr. Dueck didn't do this to scale. And Mr. Dueck won't always do it to scale because you have no idea what a pain it is to type these things up. Okay, let's remember that. What letter did we just find, Adam? Because I asked you to. What letter did we just find, Adam? Why? I will never get tired of that joke. Ever. Just never. Simon, what do I want to find next? Good. I'm going to go to green, different color. We're talking the 31 here. Z, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. I totally agree. Don't care about this. It's blank. But this 14. Adjacent. Which trig function? Once again. Nice. What always goes next to the trig function? The angle, which is this time what, Simon? Equals Z over 14. Have you all noticed the pattern yet? The shortcut? When the variable's on the top, it's this times this. When the variable's on the bottom, it's this number divided by the trig function. You'll spot that. If you start using that shortcut, Jeremiah, go ahead. As long as you're getting it right, I don't care. Aaron, what'd you get for Z? Sorry? 8.41. Anybody else? Yeah? Of course, none of that is what we wanted. What do they want us to find here, Aaron, in the first place? Which is this whole thing. Okay, if Y is that and Z is that, Jeremiah, what's my final step? And you know what? In your homework, you don't have to write this, but in our notes so that we know what we did, Jeremiah, let's write down that X equals Y plus Z, which is 17.92 plus 8.41. If you went straight to just adding them on your calculator, Jeremiah, in your homework, and just wrote down the answer and didn't write this, I'm good with that. In our notes, though, so we're studying it like we did, let's show the extra word. Binder, what'd you get? I heard 26 points. 33. 26.33. Anybody else? Yeah? Okay. So units, are there? Yeah, centimeters. So some of the questions in the homework will be questions like this. You're going to solve two separate triangles and add your results. The trickier ones are the ones that involve subtraction. Sam, what does this question want me to find? Number 2. I'm going to call this right here X. Here's the problem, Sam. Don't write this down. This is the triangle. Is there a 90-degree angle in that triangle? Okay. Any suggestions on how I can figure out how long this chunk is? I heard AC, and then subtract what? Oh, so I think what you're really saying is this, and I'm going to muck up my diagram. Don't write this down. You're saying find this, then find that, because that's also a right angle triangle, the bottom one. And then if you subtract, that'll give you this. Is that what you're saying? Okay, I'm good with that. Over here, it wants us to write all those out again, but you know what? I think we just verbally did it, Devin. Let's just jump to the math. I think here it might be worthwhile, though, quickly resketching the big triangle, where this is 12. This is, we'll call it Y. C, A, D. Sam, how big is this angle here? And I'll give you a hint. It's not 21 and it's not 32. 53? How'd you get that? Oh, added them. Okay. Devon, but not Devon. Opposite adjacent or hypotenuse. Yep. How about here? Which trig function? Hey, find y. Do you get 15.92? Again, I think my diagram is garbage because Sierra, this is 12 long. This looks way shorter than 12 to me, but it got 15.92. You know what? Don't worry about my scale. Okay. Now what? Adam, you know what I'm going to call that? Z, with a proud Canadian smile. Find Z on your own. See if you get what I got without copying by actually trying these on your calculator, not mentioning any names in the back row there. You get 7.498, which has to round to 7.50. Or did I do it wrong? People are looking puzzled. Maybe I did it wrong. It is opposite over adjacent again. Is it 7.50? Yeah, okay. Sam, let's come back to you. Let's put it all together. So, Sam, how long is it from C to A? How long is it from B to A? So, BC is how long? Let's write down what we did. What were you about to do on your calculator? Were you about to go 15.92, take away 7.50? Good, do it. Again, that last step, if you don't want to write it out in your homework, I'm good with that. .42 centimeters. Okay. Next page. Two more and we're done. The third type, so the first type is you're going to find two sides separately and then Emily add them together and there's your combined side. The second type is, well, I can find the long side, I can find one short side, subtract to find the other short side. The third type is what we call the stepping stone, or I think I've used the term hopscotch, where you're going to, you know what, use one thing to find one thing and use that new thing to find another thing and use that other thing to find another thing. Say what? Liam, what are they asking me to find here? Hey, let's go put an X up there because we feel better. Okay. Liam, my friend, don't write this down. Here's the triangle that AB is part of, yes? Is there a right angle? Say yes. Do I have an angle? Say yes. Do I have one of these three sides? So SOHCAHTOA won't work yet. Do I have another triangle in the diagram? I do. Which one? That guy? How's that help? Yeah. Which one is that? What letters? Okay, you know what? I agree with Liam. I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find AC, call it Y if you want to. Then once we have that, we'll use it to find X. 2 steps. We're going to hopscotch, stepping stone. Liam, my friend, this 17, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? I agree. What about the Y, opposite or hypotenuse? I agree. Which trig function is AH in it? Cosine angle equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Am I using the second function shift button here? No. This time the Y is on the bottom. Again, I think I mentioned this a few minutes ago. If you spot the shortcut, it's going to be 17 divided by cos 31. But let's do the cross multiplying and find out. We're going to get Y cos 31 equals 17. Y equals 17 over cos 31. 19.83. How's that help? Well, this right here is 19.83. Now, Danielle, we're going to go to this triangle up here. See the 68? This 19.83, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? Yeah, now it's opposite. In fact, you know what I would do to keep from getting confused, Danielle? Now that I've relabeled it, I would probably scribble out that one, the H, and put an O there. And you notice I even changed colors so it would stand out even more because I can easily on the tablet. How about this X, adjacent or hypotenuse? Hypotenuse. Which trig function now? Sine. What always goes next to the trig function? The angle, 68, equals opposite over hypotenuse. Hey, cross multiply, what's X? Alex, what'd you get? And by the way, I'm going to be clever. I'm not going to use 19.83. I'm going to use this whole value divided by sine 68. That way I'm not rounding off and adding error to my answer, right? You said you got 20.39? I totally agree with you. Who knew? Oh, millimeters. Last one. Psst. When your calculator's on your desk, I know you're not looking at it. Had you had your calculator tucked underneath your phone, it would have been a very smooth sell. Trust me. Updating status. Last trig example. Okay. Sydney, what are you asking me to find here? Example 4. This is kind of weird. They're asking me to find that. I can't. Not in one fell swoop. Suggestions? See the right angle triangles? Yeah. How's that help? Sydney. I'm going to make you stay on the page, but yeah. I don't know. So if I hear you and you actually went about 3 steps and did the whole thing, find the top angle, and then find the bottom angle, and then add them up. That's step 1, right? Okay, let's do that. So you said 11 here is what? Opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? Yeah, I know, but walk me through the labeling. Opposite, adjacent. Yeah, I don't need to label these either, but in our notes, I usually still do. So when I'm studying, you know, the worst is you have a brain cramp and suddenly, what do I do? And let's call this angle X. Tan, what Sydney would like to be doing right now by a beach. Wouldn't we all? Did I mention I was in California 2 weeks ago? Yeah, seems like a while ago. Pardon me? I didn't get you a souvenir? Oh, I'll have to see if I brought something home or not. I probably have some sand from the beach in one of my sandals. That would be literally throwing sand in your face. Yeah. Alex, am I going to hit the second function button now? Yeah, what's the angle? Sorry? Yeah, how many degree? How big is angle X? How do you do this on your calculator? This is calculator, right? 31 point what? 31.43 degrees. Is that right, folks? No? Yes? Okay. You need to know how to use your calculator to get this. Right? You got to go, I think, 11 divided by 18 equals and then shift 10 on yours, right? Yeah. That's the top angle. Let's find the bottom angle. What would be a good letter to use for this? Devon, but not Devon. What would be a good letter to use for this one? Because I asked you to. What would be a good letter to use? Oh, I was waiting for that. Yeah. How about the big Y? Devon, my child. This 18, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse now? How about this 22? Which trig function am I going to use to find Y? Cos. You get 35 point, I guess, 10. Of course, none of that was what they wanted me to find. What they really wanted me to find, Johnson, was this. Angle MNO. How big is angle MNO, my friend? What am I going to do? Add them up. 31.43 plus 35.10. I think I can do this in my head. 31 and 35 is 66.53 degrees. Okay. Homework. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2 says solve for the indicated side, and then it says find angles. It really should say solve for whatever's indicated, side or angle. Find what they tell you to find. Number 3. Number 4. Now, my friend who typed this up, he used to do this for the Math 10, the old Math 10 provincial exam. You don't need to write your answer in the answer box. Like, just write your answer to 2 decimal places. He had kids practice filling those things out on the provincials, though, because they were weird. Answers are right there. I also have a take-home quiz for you. I'll get it to you in just a couple minutes.